That's a good amount of zoom. Oh, my hair is actually sticking out of my hat.
That used to be the thing when I was in school.
Have now, brown cow.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I just warm up with some Anchorman
Yeah.
nonsense?
That works. So I'm a little distracted because I've been watching sports all day.
Sports!
Primarily the PGA Championship.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I was going to message you, I think it was on Friday, or maybe it was, I don't even know what time it is anymore. Is today Sunday? I guess so, if we're doing this.
Yeah. The whole weekend's gone.
Dude, well, it's a long weekend.
The whole
for us,
damn
actually.
thing.
I got tomorrow off, and then I'm taking Tuesday off as well because Ellie's got to go in for an appointment. So her and Chelsea are going to be gone all day. So I've got Lincoln, not work on Tuesday.
Yeah.
But I was going to message you a couple days ago because I saw golf was on, and then I remember you specifically saying it's not exciting until Sunday. So I'm like, but I didn't know enough about that, like what was happening this weekend. It probably was.
Obviously, it depends on the story and how much you're into, a particular golfer or a particular story.
Right.
But yes, it's not, typically not. Today's tournament is historic. So if I seem distracted on the
historic
pod today, yeah, it's potentially history making.
Who's doing it?
Do you want to talk? We can talk golf if you want to talk.
Dude,
golf
I was
shop.
going to talk to you about sports because
I don't know how much people.
I got hockey going on.
Enough
on my phone.
Nice.
It's playoffs, man.
Okay.
It's playoffs.
So today's the PGA Championship at Kiowa Island in South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very famous course for its Ryder Cup that it had in the 90s. But it's also like famous for being just brutal. It's a really, really, really hard course.
Yeah.
Especially when the wind blows, and the wind has been blowing. So people are eating left. People are eating left and right out there, and I mean those are the best tournaments to watch. Like you want to watch the guys struggle. Yeah, you don't want to see everybody just be awesome all day. That's not fun. But the historic part comes into it is my favorite golfer, Phil Mickelson, has a 3-shot lead with 2 to go. And if he wins, not only is this just awesome because this is his 6th major, which brings him into, I mean, he's already an all-timer, he's a Hall of Famer, but this brings him into like a rare air of golfers that got 6. It'll also make him the oldest person to have ever won a major tournament on the PGA Tour. Ever. And they've been tracking this stuff since like the 1800s, like ever. So he'll have his little place.
1800s. I guess golf is an old ass sport.
Yeah, they're tracking Tom Morris at St. Andrews back in like 1830s and stuff.
Oh my god,
this has been going on a long time. Not only would he be the oldest, it's like not close. Like he's got the next guy beat by like 4 years.
Well, at a certain point, and because golf has been going on for so long, it's actually kind of unfair because like life expectancy is actually longer now by a lot.
That's true. I mean, and just the whole athlete thing and everything. Like players in their 50s now are way more competitive than they were.
Not being called off to
20
war.
years ago, 40 years ago. Yeah. But
like there was a point in time in sports where like legit, like you'd have like football players, baseball players, hockey players, like, hang on, I'd love to play professionally. I've got to go to Europe to fight this war that's happening.
I mean, that only happened once.
And I'll be back.
But it did happen. Yeah, I mean, but that was like this. Those are the same people.
It's kind of hard.
Twice. They were like 10 years. It's like 10 years apart. Like it didn't happen.
I just want to play sports.
It's not in like 2 different eras. That
Come
was
on,
in the same
Adolf.
era.
It's got to be different athletes though.
I don't know. You should look up, what baseball was like in the 1930s and 40s. I don't think it was different athletes.
Oh man, what if they just brought the
same
bats over?
beer guzzling, cigarette token,
Seriously.
same dudes, same white dudes.
They just got different drugs now. That's all. They're still doing whatever substances. It's just different. That seems like a good place to do the music. You want to do the music?
Yeah, we can.
We can do the music. I gotta get the chat up here.
Do we even have people in the chat?
I don't even know. We'll find out. We'll find out. Donnie.
Yes, Sean.
I was wondering, what is your favorite and least favorite personal hygiene kind of task?
Ooh. Oh, that's so personal. People are going to make judgments over me.
I know.
Man.
You like brushing your teeth?
Yeah, so my favorite's definitely like just bathing.
The shower.
Which sounds dumb, right? Because you're like, of course, but like I've been told that I bathe like way too much.
Yeah.
Like I'm definitely one, I take baths. I'm still like a bath person. I get shamed. I get shamed enough for being a man who openly admits that he likes a tub.
Okay, that makes you less of a man? Is that the idea?
That's the idea. Yeah. So I like baths, but I take showers too. But I shower at least a day, every day. At least.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Sometimes 2 days. Like on average, it might be like eight a week. Like on average.
Okay.
And that's like not counting the hot tub dips either, if you count those. Where you dip yourself into chemicals,
into chemicals. Yeah, exactly.
I'm kind of a water person, so I do that a bit.
Yeah. Well, because I hate shaving. I'll just tell you right now, like shaving is the worst.
I got nothing to shave. Like I get a little patchy, but like I can't grow a beard or a mustache.
But you still have to take care of it. Like that's kind of maybe even more so. Like if it doesn't grow in, like looking all right, then you probably have to.
Well, that's true. I do shave almost daily because because otherwise it just looks like my beard looks like your 5 o'clock shadow. It's just 5 o'clock shadow all the time.
That'd be all right.
No.
That'd be all right. Like I haven't used like a straight razor, like a blade in almost a decade. I don't think.
Really.
Like
so Dev, you've got the electric razor.
Just a little trimmer. It's super easy.
I have a straight razor.
Yeah. I don't want to cut myself. I get little bumps. I get the neck. I don't like it. I don't know if that's a sensitive skin or ingrown hairs or whatever.
You gotta get used to it. Yeah.
I don't like it. Well, I mean, I was doing it for years before that, and I just like it's nuts to that.
I've got both. I've got the electric razor. Like if I'm in a hurry, I'll throw a quick buzz.
Yeah.
But I've got a straight
What about the people
razor.
who do it in the car? You ever like pull up to a set of lights, you look over at the dude?
That.
I've definitely seen somebody do it. You look over and the dude's just like, and it's kind of like, I guess,
like a thing that happened in the movies.
It definitely has happened. I mean, like, women doing their makeup, their lipstick or their whatever. Common. And then the other guys are like, well, we can do this too.
Yeah.
You'd have stuff everywhere. Like I do it like in the shower, like, just to paint a picture here. Like I don't want to do it over the sink. I've seen those things. There's for some people when they trim like that, there's like a bib with little suction cups on the end of it that you put on the mirror. So you create like this tarp that goes from under your chin to the mirror. So then you can shave your face and all the trimmings drop down into this cape. It's like a chin cape.
Okay, I never want to hear anybody ever make fun of me again.
Exactly.
That's ridiculous.
That's what I'm telling you, man.
I've shaved in the shower. I've brushed my teeth in the shower.
I am 100% every day. I am brushing my teeth in the shower. Every day.
I only do it when
I moved in. I moved it in. I'm like, come on, toothbrush and toothpaste. You're in here now. Come on, you're in here now. Like that's 100%. Sure. Yeah. That's where I'm at, man. I like it.
Pretty good. I mean, it's not hygiene related, but I
think it's all hygiene, like clipping your nails.
My worst thing is definitely like my dress attire.
Yeah.
My boss hates it. Like I never iron anything ever.
Oh, dude, I hate ironing. Oh, now we're
just like
chores.
I throw it in the dryer for like 5 minutes and like that's as good as it's gonna get. Either you like it or you hate it, but I really don't care. Because that's the thing is I really, really don't care.
I guess not.
I walked into our Mercedes dealership in like cargo pants and Crocs and stuff. My wife was like, "You look ridiculous."
Good on you, man. That's the best.
I hate that stuff. I always have. It's probably the thing I hate most about my job is that whole formal attire. I know some men dig it, right? You get a suit and tie on, you feel powerful.
Yeah.
I don't. I feel constrained and restricted, and I just hate it, uncomfortable, and just ugh. I've always hated it. I hate going to weddings. I hate all things that require anything like
the end of a wedding is a pretty uncomfortable situation. Like, and we're not even like, it's not too hot here. We had a couple of weeks where things kind of get crazy, but it's like hot all the time.
What is like crazy hot in Canada?
I don't know. Like that's the thing. So like we probably go like, ooh, this is uncomfortable. Like 90s would be.
Yeah. So we look at you. We look at your heat like you look at our winter.
Yeah.
We're like,
yeah, that's hot.
Yeah. Dude, it was like 87 today.
Yeah, that's enough. That'd be good. That'd be all right. That's because I was in LA for E3, whatever it was, 2019, sure. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I'm melting. And all the people who are there in LA, they're also like, this is hot. And Luke was there, who comes from North Carolina or South Carolina, and he's like, this is nothing.
Comfy.
He was super comfy. He kind of like, chuckled it off, like kind of made me feel like a bit of a pansy. Couldn't deal with this heat, old Canadian boy. And I'm like, the locals can't handle this heat. Like, it's hot. Like, yes, you're used to hotter, but this is hot. Like, at least give me that. So if you're dressed up for a wedding or formal, no thanks. Like, that's the thing I think you and I haven't really chatted about before, like the difference in dress. It's like, I mean, for the most part, it's fine here. But you look, suits are not different where you are. Suits are the same, but it's too many layers.
Suits are incredibly, like, boring. Like
that's all you can do.
Designer, I want to say, like, some designer somewhere, like, came up with the idea for men, and it's basically been that way for hundreds of years at this point.
That's probably for the best, though. I was dressing Ellie earlier today to go outside. I'm like, I don't know what to put you in. Like, I have no idea what girls wear. Like, there's too many options. Like, I go to Lincoln,
a lot of options.
I'm like, t-shirt and jeans, Lincoln is good. And then we got Ellie. I'm like, she looked ridiculous today. Like, I just very, very quickly turning into the dad who doesn't know what to do. Like if I ever have to do her hair or anything like that, or like, I'm just hooped. I have no idea. I have no clue, man. Oh, look at this, the muscle card chat coming back in here. I love it.
Nice. That's a hell of a challenger there, Marco. Whew.
Macro drove a 717 horsepower. What kind of tires you got to have on something like that? Guy trading with 8,000 kilometers on it.
Thick. Traded it in. What? That's kilometers. What? Come on. Get out of here with that nonsense.
It's probably like 5,000 miles.
You get those Hellcats, man, or those demons. They come in stock like 800 horsepower. I was telling my wife the other day, we were watching, where I was showing her because she wanted to know all the difference between all the models, and I was just like, that feels so excessive.
Yeah.
For a car that somebody can buy. You know, it's like the hunter that goes and buys an assault rifle. You're like, what do you need that for? Nobody needs this. It's the same
for the horde of moose that they're going to take down.
Somebody's like, look at my car, 800 horsepower. Just like, dear Lord.
I love it. Hey, I don't remember, and I don't want to like make you repeat anything you said on a podcast before, but last we chatted, you went and bought Dead Rising. Yeah, I think it was after this podcast. Did you talk about like are you liking? Yeah, is it good? Did it do the thing?
Dead Rising 4 did exactly what I want to do. I started having fun playing video games again.
Yeah.
Took a while.
I love it, man.
Kind of got me on my funk. I wanted to play a lot more this weekend, but I've had a busy weekend. I had sports all day today. I watched Monaco over at Monte Carlo today, and then watched the PGA Championship this afternoon.
We sold our dog house, which our dogs never used. We bought it at like a charity event and paid way too much for it. It's been sitting in the backyard for years. The dogs never used it at all. Finally sold it. And this older couple comes in to pick it up, and it's a house, man. Like, this thing was heavy. The roof comes off of it. This thing, it's like it's a beefy thing. And I'm sitting there like, I don't know how I'm going to pick this up. And this guy who's probably maybe close to 70, it's like, I work at Amazon. I work in the shipping yard. I'm good. I get 30,000 steps a day. I'm like, this guy was in better shape than I was. Wow. And I'm like, just trying to keep up with him, trying to help him, get this thing into his truck.
Over here like this.
Yeah. Oof. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I wanted to, because I was thinking about that. Like, every now and then I have trouble, and I wonder if anybody else thinks like this too. Like, can you picture yourself as an old man? Like, can you think of and maybe we've never been able to do this, like what we'll look like or what we'll be doing in like 20 or 30 years. The fact I can't even picture it scares me. And speaking of sports,
I don't think anybody wants to, right? Like,
but I feel like visualization, I think, is important. Like, that's the whole like see it before you do it kind of thing. Like, I don't know. Like, I basically just see myself in a home at some point. There's probably going to be something in between now and then. Just like, I'm going to need help.
Chelsea put you there? Like, is she there with you, or is she?
I know she's probably long gone. She figures between now and when I'm that age, she'll have figured out like, don't really need him.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
She's got this under control. She's got the kids right now.
The kids are taking care of her. They've put you in a home.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm expendable at this point. Yeah. Yeah. Really?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to make it that far. Like, this all feels.
That's the scary part. That's what I'm trying to get at here is I feel like if I can't visualize it, maybe it's not meant to be.
That is.
Maybe I just
That's doom and gloom. I'm just being realistic. Like,
yeah,
all of the way that I treat my body plus my family history just doesn't have like longevity isn't really a part of the equation. Right? It's not a race. It's not about, it's not a marathon. It's not about who can go the furthest. It's who has the most fun while you're here.
Well, that's obvious.
That's the point you're trying to make.
What I want to see is like, people can call each other influencers across a number of dimensions or whatever. I want to see how many people now get a hot tub after you. I want to see how many people go like
hot tub.
I think people Chelsea and I are talking about it, and especially like when she found out it was like it's inflatable, right? Like it's sort of like a temporary type of thing.
Yeah.
As soon as I told her that, she's like, yeah, that we could probably.
It's probably do. Legit. Like you can stand on the side of it. It's not. It's legit. It's like a structure.
And I could write it off. Make it part of my I could make it part of my streams. You can legally do hot tub streams now, Don.
The only downside is you got to learn like some basic pool chemistry. That's it.
I mean, so it's either I learn. Doesn't that lead to like cooking meth? Like all
that's a leap.
Well, I don't know. I saw a chemistry teacher like cook meth.
You bring up meth a lot. This is
Do I really?
Third or fourth meth occurrence that I had with you. Yeah, like this is
Northside, man.
Common trend with you.
You can take the boy out of the north side, but you can't take the north side out of the boy, man. It was a rough area, man.
Down to 2. It's on the final hole.
It's going to be a sports-filled day, man. I've got what is this? I've got Colorado and St. Louis on my phone down here, and then Edmonton plays the Winnipeg Jets. You even know where Winnipeg is? Do you have any idea where Winnipeg is?
Dude, I tried caring for hockey. When I grew up, I liked hockey. I tried caring about it when the Blue Jackets started, and then after so many years, it just fell off, and I have no idea.
Was it the name, the Blue Jackets? It's not.
I actually like the name. I like the Cannon more. I like their
Cannon is cool. Yeah.
I do wish they were the Columbus Cannon or something like that. It was more like soccer-ish, but they're like firing their coach, right?
I guess so.
He's had like the same coach for like 20 years or something. Like he's been there forever, and I guess they're going to finally fire him. But I thought they were doing good this year. I don't know.
It's hard to keep track. I can't even believe it's a real year, to be honest with you.
That's true.
Like just with COVID and everything, it just didn't feel real.
The other day I made fun of, we were driving down the road and this person next to us had their car all painted up, 2021 seniors. And I was like, why do they paint their car so early?
Because you didn't even know where we are in the year.
I was like, Donnie, it's 2021. They're graduating. I was like, oh boy.
Yeah. There's those moments.
It is.
All those things that people said, as you're growing up, you're like, you're gonna blink and then it'll be 20 years later, and it's like those are the moments that make you realize that it's happening. Like we're in it, we're about to wake up, and it's about to be 20 years later, man.
I forgot my birthday. I forgot how old I am a couple of times. That's real. That's legit.
Yeah.
One time I was asked how old I was, and I wasn't sure. I was like 33.
Yeah.
One of them.
Because you start to think like, have I counted? Because I'm starting to get closer to my birthday right now, and I'm actually doing that. I think I have to think about how old I am right now, because I'm like, I think I'm turning 37.
When you're like before you're 21, it's really important. And I guess as you count down to 30, like it was never important to me, but it becomes a thing. Yeah. But eventually you reach an age where it literally doesn't matter anymore.
I guess not.
You'd be 35, 38, 31. It's all the same thing.
It's probably for the best that we forget.
What does it matter? Like literally, what does it matter? It means nothing. And it's so irrelevant.
I think so
and
too.
I think as you can't keep years and years of E3 presentations in your head and also your birthday. Like if you start bringing stuff in, something's got to go, right?
Yeah.
So, you got to priorities, Sean. Priorities.
Stevens in the chat says my 20-year-old high school reunion is this year. I've got one foot in the grave. Jesus.
It's dark.
That's one way to put it. Yeah. I don't know, man. Oh gosh. Good times. Donnie. Sweet Hangs. I'm playing a game that I won't talk about on any of my other shows because I don't do a PlayStation show and I don't do a PC show.
You're doing the Dead Don't Ride thing.
Yeah. That old Days Gone that people are furious isn't getting a sequel.
How you liking that?
Okay, so it's complicated. This is why I wanted to bring it up, and it's kind of a question I didn't tell you about before, but I want to lay this on you now. I can't tell if it's good or not. And here's the thing. I think gameplay is pretty good. I think it looks, and especially on my PC, which is not like a juggernaut. It's like not a huge horsepower kind of thing. It doesn't not a huge game, but it runs great. But the voice
what kind of
acting.
Graphics card do you have?
I have like a 1070 Ti. Like it's a number of years old. Wasn't even top of the line when it was the thing. So it's 2 generations of graphics cards ago. Playing at 1440 maxed out settings, it's getting 60 plus frames. It's doing pretty good.
That's nice.
So very good. Yes, macros in the chat says got a great version of an okay game.
Macros a great follow everybody.
Yeah,
by the way, make sure you're following Any Macro on Twitter. Fantastic.
We the Gamercast hits on Monday.
You know, he messaged me about that weeks ago, and I went looking for it at one point because be honest, Sean, I don't listen to every week the Gamercast. I've told you this before.
Mm-hmm.
I need to know who the people are, and or to be honest with you, want to listen to them. Sometimes you've got guests. I'm like, I don't want to listen to this person, right? So, but he comes on. He's like, hey, I'm doing this thing, and I was like, I want to listen to him. So I kept looking for it. I was gonna ask. I was like, did I miss it? Do I not have it? Where is it? Because I think he told me like a month ago.
We probably scheduled it about a month ago. That's kind of where I'm at with it. Yeah, it's probably been on deck for a bit.
I thought I lost it. I was like, well,
people think I'm joking.
It's gone.
People think I'm just like blowing smoke when I'm like, I look forward to having you guys on the show. I'm booking into like July at this point. Like it's been kind of like that.
Well, that's good that you have such a leadway.
That's great. That's great because I can't think on the spot. I need to make sure things are kind of set ahead. But what I wanted to ask you was because I'm playing this game and it's going to take me a long time to get through it, especially with Mass Effect and all that kind of stuff. The voice acting. Why did
you start this game? You have Mass Effect to play. Why would you?
They gave it to me.
Days Gone takes forever though, dude.
I know. I didn't buy it. I didn't buy it. PlayStation Canada just like, hey, they're partnered with a new PR firm that we get along with very well, and they just kind of sent it along. I'm like, I was not expecting this.
Canada's so nice.
Play it anyways. It's very, very sweet. So I'm very, very fortunate about it. But the main character, I gotta, and if this is gonna tie into the other thing we want to talk about having the right take. What are we talking about meth in the chat for, you guys? So
if hot tubs are my thing, then meth apparently is your thing.
Hot tubs and meth. We're changing the name of the podcast. It's no longer Sweet Hangs. It's Hot Tubs and Meth. Wow. With a beaver and a bald eagle. Well, we'll just have our anthropomorphic animal versions of ourselves.
Better than one.
Okay, so the main character, in my opinion, very poorly acted. Like laugh out loud. I'm laughing as he's saying
Deacon St. John's, right?
Deacon St. John, which, like, is he from Quebec? Is he?
Sons of Anarchy is making fun of that.
Yeah, This isn't the one. This isn't the one for Sony fans to hang their hat on. I don't think. This is not the one.
Sony fans are. I don't think they would either.
I don't think so either. But I feel like there's the whole. I can't believe there's not being a sequel. There's not getting a sequel.
I kind of agree with that though. I'm on that side. I'm on that side of the fence. It performed well enough. It was good enough that I think it deserved a sequel.
Yeah.
And I say that because I say that knowing that a lot of games don't take off until they get a sequel. That also is a part of it, right? It's like
Except for Ghost of Tsushima and except for Horizon Zero Dawn.
Not going to be a Ghost of Tsushima 2, right?
That's true. No, but what? Okay, so I just wanted to kind of like put them on the same bar as like your first go at a brand new IP. This is not as good as Ghost of Tsushima. It's not
definitely
as good.
Definitely not. Yeah.
So then
it's not.
Yeah, like so. I think that's really the bar. It's almost like maybe Sony has a bit of like a quality, like a seal of quality type of deal.
You've got
and like this one just doesn't hit it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm totally fine with that. And they took a long time to make it. And like if I was Herman Holst and I was sitting there, especially let's get the truth out of the way. The truth is that they pitched a Days Gone sequel that was like an online multiplayer shared world thing.
Yeah,
that's an easy no.
Yeah.
It's like absolutely not. But if they actually pitched a true sequel, like we're gonna make a sequel, you'd be hard pressed because it's like, guys, this took you like 8 years to make. Man. It was good, not great. Like, can we do something else? Like you'd have to sell me on it. You'd have to sell me why the sequel would be better.
Yeah.
But the game performed better than most, above average. Just
part of the pitch should have been you kill off Deacon St. John. He's just not part of it. It's just put it somewhere else because he reads some lines, and I want to be gentle because somebody actually acted this and poured their heart and soul into this performance. But there's times where you're like hunting down like they're called nests where the freakers kind of like go and hide out, and he kind of is yawning as he's saying, he's like, oh, looks like there's a nest over here. Like, what? direction does this voice act? Like, what is this? And it too often I'm laughing at the game and not really enjoying. Like, it really takes me out of it. So what I wanted to ask you is, are there games or are there something as part of a game that can ruin a game experience that is otherwise a pretty good game? Like, voice acting for me is
easily
it's pretty up there, man.
Well, I mean, I think anything that's done bad can be that. If it's so bad that it sticks out, then yeah, it can ruin the experience for you. I think everybody has something like, I don't think it has to be like one thing, right? Like, it doesn't like if any facet of a game is done poorly, it's bad. Like Wolfenstein Youngblood was pretty hard to play.
Yeah.
Also, like Metro, when I played Metro last night, like the dialogue on that was awful. And that was also hard to play. And so, like, it can be the dialogue. And dialogue doesn't even necessarily mean the voice acting was bad.
Yeah.
It's just, like, the writing is bad.
The writing.
It could be the writing, could be the voice actor, could be the performance, could be the controls. I can't stand anything worse than when I try to play a platformer and it doesn't play how I feel it should play. Like, when a platformer feels off, that's almost an immediate no for me.
Yeah.
I'll turn the game off. I won't even try. I won't even get accustomed to it. If I pick up your controller and I move your character around right and left and jump and I'm like, that's off, I'm not even doing it.
I was trying to ask Jules about that. Like, this is ages ago now when Jules Watchman was on.
I haven't heard from him in a bit.
Got to hear about that Hatch Tale soon enough, man. That Kickstarter is it's falling into that category of like, I don't want to do Kickstarter anymore.
Well,
I love Jules. We've been
shoot Donnie in the face.
Yeah, you're not allowed to have that take. Or have you? What are you trying to say?
I got so damn mad at that developer. The developer for SwapFire 2.
Oh yeah.
He basically just took everybody's money and ran.
It's a possibility.
I called him out for it, and you know what? To be fair to him, he owned up to the point where he wanted to come on and talk with Kevin and I to like explain his actions to everybody. Sure. And I was so damn angry for a while that I wanted to like give it to him. I thought it would be good. And dude, I sat down with like a few drinks and I was thinking over it and I was just like, nobody needs that. Like, this isn't going to help anybody. Like me, I don't want to come off like that much of an a-hole just to teach this guy a lesson. And I just let it go. But yeah, he basically, I mean, games, that's just games, right? Like, especially the Kickstarter games, like that's happened.
Especially the Kickstarter games.
And that's not uncommon. Everybody probably at least knows of a story where that happened. And, sometimes you want to get in on something so bad. But I don't want to associate that with Jules. I'm sure Jules will deliver chicken wiggle and everything to everybody eventually.
So. I'm thinking so. I totally agree. It's just it's always a different. I feel like one of the reasons that I jumped on board with that one in particular is because it seemed like such an easy, like quote unquote, like easy port, right? Yeah. Like the way that was pitched was like, we just want to get this game out of the new hotness, which was the Switch. Like the jump from 3DS to the Switch happened a lot faster than I think anybody anticipated. And so then all of a sudden there was like this mad rush back in like 2017, like got to get it on Switch.
All the visuals and everything too.
They did, yeah. I remember like Jules was talking about that even before he released it on 3DS. Like he had some like mock-ups of it. I think that's kind of like where it started. Like the visual concept of it kind of started with that high def kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then he built a 3DS game.
Yeah.
But going over to Switch, he could do that. So
looks like Phil's done it. He's on the green in 2. He's putting.
Let's go, Phil.
Golf history, man.
Is he done then after that, do you think? Does he just retire?
No. If anything, that'll encourage him that he can still play.
Go for fair enough. Well, lefties everywhere can celebrate.
Yeah.
A little bit. Yep. He's representing.
That they can.
The menu system in Borderlands 3 was bad enough. It was the map between the map and navigation and the fact that it like took
good call
a second and a half.
Dude, Xenoblade Chronicles 2's map sucks.
Does it? Yeah, so I haven't played that one.
It's got like different floors, but you have to like cycle between them. I always remember like having. I remember when we played it, right? Switch comes out. We all play Breath of the Wild. Xenoblade 2 comes out. I like Xenoblade Chronicles. The first one was one of my favorite games. Played it originally on Wii. I was one of those folks. And I totally pre-order it, and I go to play it, and I'm just like, how am I navigating a game in this day and age that I can't figure out where to go?
Right.
Like I'm on the marker, but I'm not because it's 1,000 feet above me or whatever. It's like, how the hell is this happening? Like in today's, like we've solved this problem many times over by now. I remember that. And I think Caroline was giving me hell about it because she didn't think it was that big of a deal.
She just figures it out. I mean, she's on a different level with that kind of stuff anyway.
I hated it. Like I'm not willing to like try hard or fight through things too often when it doesn't make sense. Like for something like that, it's like I get that you maybe want to be different, but it's like don't do it as don't do it to a detriment to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're not going to improve upon it, make it better, then leave it alone.
Yeah,
like, just do what has been adopted and is accessible. I hate. You know what? I'll say that I will see your point and I will raise you one. A game that does like a crazy different control scheme.
Yes, why?
You know, like when the, you know, like, I don't know. I'm just going to throw something out there. Like when the right bumper is the action button or something. You're playing like, who the hell came up with this idea? You know, it's like, have we not figured out how the hell this plays by now? Like that kind of stuff really is bothersome, real bothersome. Like, what are you guys doing?
That's part of Days Gone as well, with the whole like the wheel, the inventory wheel, the weapon wheel, like that kind of got introduced at a certain point. That's a thing. Yeah, macro in the chat. Donnie watching golf on Sweet Hang should be the Sean getting McDonald's for this podcast.
I'll just interrupt to give you
random golf updates. Well, don't worry about it. We're about 20 minutes away from the Edmonton Oilers starting up their Game 3 against the Winnipeg Jets. I don't know if there's a more Canadian
Didn't the Jets
than that.
Wait a minute. Is the Winnipeg Jets in that used to be the Atlanta... What were they called? The Thrashers?
Okay, so we're gonna go for a roundabout kind of thing here. So there used to be, back in the day, there was the Atlanta Flames,
right?
And the Atlanta Flames left Atlanta. They moved to Calgary.
Wait a minute, I thought they were the Knights.
I don't know if that was even before that.
Okay,
but
all right,
but
go ahead.
Possibly, or maybe an AHL.
I'll take your word for it. I don't know.
Probably Macro might back me up on this. Pretty sure it was the Atlanta Flames. I'm pretty sure it was the exact same logo to a flaming A. They moved to Calgary. They got their flaming C. Right. Winnipeg Jets used to be in they were there a long time ago. Winnipeg Jets went down to Phoenix. They became the Phoenix Coyotes. Yeah. So Winnipeg was without Gretzky, a team for the forever. Gretzky owned the team.
Yeah.
But I don't remember who the hell went from somewhere to Winnipeg to bring Winnipeg. They got their Jets.
I think
back.
It's the Thrashers, the Atlanta Thrashers.
Atlanta Thrashers. No, that totally makes sense. Yes. We did it. Connected all the dots.
Why are there American hockey teams?
Dude, there's 3 teams in California.
There should be just Detroit, Boston, and New York. Call it a day. Minneapolis. That's it. Right? Detroit, Minneapolis, Boston, New York, Pittsburgh. Throw them in. That's it. You have 5. You know.
But did you say Chicago? Chicago's like my favorite team in the States.
Yeah, I guess.
I like Chicago. I like the Blackhawks. I've always liked the Blackhawks. There's random sports in here.
Yeah,
just keep people on their toes. Donnie, I sent you a tweet earlier today. Somebody was talking about a game that was built for PS4 and isn't performing well on PS5. I don't remember what the game is, but this is a theme.
You know, I reached out to Jeff about this. Because I wanted to have like a better understanding about it.
Yeah.
Because they were arguing about what's the Biomutant, which I'm very excited to play.
Yeah, there's a couple of these games now. There's about 3, 4, 5 of these games that have the same situation.
But they're all a little different. The game that your tweet was referring to was Sniper, and that one's different than Biomutant's Issues, I think.
Sure.
Biomutant's Issues. So, all right, so when the Biomutant thing came out, it's like it's 1080p, I think 60 on PlayStation 5. Yeah. People are freaking out because the developer said it was technical difficulties.
Yeah.
This made our XP room in place of video games blow up because they were like, it's not because the hardware can't do it. Like these devs suck. And it was like, that's my Kevin voice. I'm making a voice.
Oh, God. Not even a collective of people.
And I tried to like correct them. I was like, look, they're not saying that. That's not what technical difficulties mean. Jeff wrote about this before the consoles came out. I remembered the article, and I asked him, I was like, can you send me that article again? Because I can't remember exactly what it is. So PlayStation's Biomutant on PlayStation 5 is not a PS5 game. It's the PS4 version of the game that you can just play on PS5. Now, when you hear that coming from a PC or an Xbox background, you're like, but it'll play better. But that's not necessarily the case. Yeah. Because on PS5, they have backwards compatibility mode, like performance modes. So basically, the system downclocks to run all PlayStation 4 versions of the game.
Sure.
This is why when they launched, like on Xbox, we were getting like 120 frames Warzone and 120 frames Fortnite and all this stuff.
Same with Mass Effect.
They were just unlocking the game. They're just go. On PlayStation 5, because the way that they set up it doesn't even make sense. It almost seems like you're shooting themselves in the foot because it's like, it's like, why are you even doing it? Just get rid of this. But they have this system in place, and it's for you to take advantage of these developers, they have to publish a brand new SKU of the game. Mm-hmm. They have to publish a PS5 version.
Yeah.
Because this thing downclocks and runs in PS4 performance mode, and like they have boost that they can lay on top of it, basically unlock the frame rate. But yeah, that's why you're seeing some devs have some hurdles, and they'll get it fixed, right? They'll patch it, release the new version, it'll get better.
Sure.
Yeah, but it's a thing. I am a PlayStation 5 owner. If I was a PlayStation 5 only owner, I'd be a little, upset about it.
I'd be peeved too.
Yeah, and I think that you deserve to be.
I think that the take that I'm trying to, or I guess the point that I'm trying to make here is that the common like counter to it is it's not a PS5 issue, it's a back compat issue.
Yeah.
And which my the way I receive that is like, it kind of doesn't matter. Like what,
right.
Like
that's the appropriate response.
It doesn't matter like what it is. If I have a PS5 and this game doesn't play well on it, then it doesn't matter if it's a like Blu-ray drive reason or if an HDMI reason or God the hell knows. Like what?
It's a PS5 issue.
It's a PS5 issue. It's a game that you're trying to play on your PS5 and it doesn't really work. And it's like the gymnastics that are happening here is just amazing. This gets me back into, was it about a year ago, maybe a little more than a year ago? I think you and I were like feeling the tingles of anger when Sony did the reversal.
We were in the same
We Believe
boat.
in Generations.
We were
in this. Like this kind of stuff bubbles up every once in a while, and it's like, you guys,
because it's gonna hold next gen back, Sean.
Take the L. Just take the L.
You know what's holding next gen back? This PS4 compatibility mode is holding back your games.
Well, maybe they had some inside knowledge. Like, yeah, typically the way backwards compatibility works would hold it back, but not all the time.
No.
So it's just interesting. I just see this like, the canned responses coming in from the various camps coming in every once in a while.
I mean, look, Sean, you're not wrong to point out like hypocrisy on the internet, but just know that pointing it out doesn't mean it's going to go away.
Oh, this is way gone beyond that.
Like there's nothing that's going to come out of it.
I do it as a joke in my Twitch stream. People can spend channel points so that I declare, or they join me in declaring that Xbox Game Pass is the greatest value in gaming. And that's so there's that whole thing too, and it's what games have Xbox come out with. There's conversations that happen all over the place. It doesn't mean that any point is invalid. It's not I don't know if it's like if this is a common way to put it, but I think I heard somebody else say like the yeah but argument. Like doesn't invalidate the first thing. If you go, yeah, but this, it's like, well, how about both those things suck?
Yeah.
Like maybe there is a lack of first party stuff on Xbox. And maybe there's also a problem with this back compat shit.
I'm actually very excited to play, Biomutant this week. And personally, I'm very upset. I was upset to see the news because Josh and Kyle for Board of Video Games, they were going to play it too. They pre-ordered it way out in front, and they pre-ordered on PlayStation. And they were like, dude. And it's like, that does suck. That sucks for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
I would switch pre-orders if I were you.
I would switch.
I would switch.
There's this other thing happening, and this kind of has to do with like the commentary on games that I think is interesting. Is do you know the game? If I say the words Knockout City, do you know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the dodgeball game.
The dodgeball game, the EA game, the one. What were your thoughts before?
It's almost beta.
It's almost impossible at this point. But did you go like when you first saw that? What were your thoughts? Like Knockout City.
I liked it.
Okay. You're not so much of a pessimist as me because I shit all over that game. Oh, big time.
No, I mean, I think it's the eternal Nintendo fan in me. I like any colorful game that looks like it's fun. It's cartoony and fun and bright and vibrant.
Well, that makes me feel like a total asshole.
I played the beta and I enjoyed it and I talked nice things about the beta. I would play it more if I had friends to play with, and that's where that game sits with me, and that's where most games that focus on that will sit with me. Because when I played the beta, I got wrecked by some teams.
Did you really?
And I was out there playing by myself and like trying to coordinate with your team, like using emotes and stuff. Like it's a tough game. Like you've got to, if you're gonna play against a real team that's coordinating and they're monitoring like respawn points and because there's only certain places you can pick up the ball. Yeah, there's like a couple of these. If they're like camping on those spots, it's like Splatoon. It can go south real fast, and you can be like, "Why am I even playing?"
It's funny. I think last night somebody was saying that it was kind of reminding them a bit of a Splatoon type
it's
of thing.
It's Splatoon-ish in the sense that like you can't do the turf war, but like how you hold ground and how you work with your teammates is Splatoon-esque.
Yeah. The goal isn't necessarily like the best KDR, like kill death ratio. It's something else. I remember when Bobby explained that to me with Splatoon, because like I kind of did the reverse journey with Splatoon that most people did. Most people saw it and like, why the hell would I want that? Like, what are these squids? Upon the first reveal, I remember there being a lot of negativity around it.
Maybe I was on the minority because like Knockout City, I loved Splatoon the first time I saw it. I was so stoked and excited.
I thought it was, and just the way they explained it and like where the inspiration came from, the way it just made
save
sense.
The Wii U. I was like, look at this thing,
Exactly. But then, everybody else kind of that wave comes along and just kind of drowns out whatever you or I think. Like, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of why I wanted to bring up like this Knockout City thing, because I thought that the story was already wrote for Knockout City, because I wasn't sure I was hearing like a lot of, I can't wait for Knockout City. It was, what is EA trying to do? This thing looks like Fortnite, kind of those typical, basically anything that isn't like an already established IP. We look at like, what is this thing? I don't know what it is. I don't know this new thing. And I don't want it. Like Bleeding Edge was a good example. Like there's a lot of things that probably have
Knockout City some merit like to Bleeding Edge than Splatoon.
Right. But Bleeding Edge was like right out of the gates. Maybe it had to do with like who the developer was, and that's not what we wanted from them. Maybe it was the point in time of that game where Xbox needed not that. They needed something else. Like I guess there's just a lot. This shit's complicated, I think is what I'm trying to say.
If you're in the narrative and the commentary of the industry.
Sure.
The question is really, how much does that narrative really matter? I think it matters a lot to about 10% of people.
Sure, but then does that 10% of people drive the success? Like, are those 10% of people like the ones who tell their friends and they tell
I don't think they drive it independently.
Yeah.
I think they can. I think they can be strong soothsayers, but I don't think it rests solely on their shoulders. I don't think there's
soothsayers?
Yeah.
Sure. I understand like in the context of what you're saying. I've never heard that thing before. Is this the fifth wheeler for this week?
Did I do this wrong?
No, you probably did, right?
Soothsayer, a person supposed to be able to foresee the future.
I need to adopt that in my vernacular a little more.
Yeah, so there's people, they see the E3 and they're like, let me tell you about the Kinect and how it's going to change the world. We can do that as much as we want. It is really only impactful when we're right. Like when it actually swings.
It clicks. Yeah.
It doesn't always. It doesn't always happen that way.
Mm-hmm. It just seems like I guess it kind of has enough in the past that I guess it is just good that it can be surprised still. I don't want to know the fate of a game because the internet says a certain thing, and it's just like, thou shalt suck, like Battleborn, like a Battleborn game, or what was that 4v1, the monster game? Everybody,
it's a Turtle Rock, right?
Yeah, I don't remember what it was called. Like, damn it,
I forget what it was called too. It was like Beast or
Evolve.
Hunt.
Was it Evolve?
Yeah,
Evolve. Nailed it. Got it.
Good job.
We did it.
Yeah,
man, because that's like those are the types of things.
Those games come and go, and we'll always have them.
I always feel bad about those.
They'll take a strong stance on a game, but I mean, it's not
or even no stance.
It's not like set in stone, and that's really that's the exception than the rule. Most games don't get that treatment. Usually, a game has got to do something like quite wrong to get that treatment.
Well, I feel Hyperscape is a recent example. I don't know that it did anything wrong. It just just did not click.
It didn't do anything new.
And I always feel bad. It's like, it looks like a lot of money, a lot of effort, and kind of makes you wonder. Like the reason it makes me feel bad, I think, is because going into game development and going, I'm going to pitch this game. It's going to cost $100 million to make. And like legit, I've got zero idea if this is going to land or not. Like zero, probably like -5% confidence that this is actually going to hook.
You wonder why we get spin-offs and spiritual successors instead of new IP. That
terrifies me. That actually, the thought of that.
It's a huge leap.
Very, very scary.
If you're going to play with the big boys, like that's and I think that's Jason Schreier's thing for so long, is he's been trying to point out like just it seems like the video game AAA development space is just like a house of cards. It's just like teetering on the break. At any point, like it could just go all south, because it's such a weird business that you invest hundreds of millions of dollars into something before seeing any return. It's honestly, it's like you think you'd do it the opposite way. You go the Fortnite way, where you spend a little into something and then let it grow as it takes off. But it's just kind of upside down, and that's why you get so many different. That's why you get so many, like when you have a franchise that hits, that's why you start getting sequels, and that's why they keep that tie and they keep it going versus new IP.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of, I was going to say maybe it's kind of like movies, but I don't know that movies take as long to make.
And they don't.
Like, I think that's That's really
not all. The majority of them aren't nearly as expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably
you're not spending an entire 3,000-5,000 person studio 5, 7, 8 years to make it before it hits theaters. Like that's
instead you just spend $20 million to get a Brad Pitt, or a Rock or something like that.
But you shoot it in like a half a year. You edit it in like a year. You market it for a year, and it's out.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if I want that either, though.
The other thing is like movies. They also have really long monetization tails. You can sell. That's what I was going to. I don't know if is that true. I guess. Rights. Yeah, and I mean you can sell movies.
Some of them.
I bought National Lampoon's Vacation last year.
Yeah.
Like whoever the license holder is, that's for making money.
Like Christmas Vacation.
Yeah.
Like the Christmas. Like Christmas movies especially.
Like who's making money off of like a game that came out in 2005? Like nobody. Nobody's buying those things.
Grand Theft Auto's pretty close.
Yeah, but like
that's the one in a trillion. That's the one in how many games actually come out? I don't know. It's scary. That actually terrifies me. Like, why would anybody do it? Why would we're lucky that we get any games at all.
If I had tons of money, I would never touch video game development.
There's no chance. Even as like God bless anybody who even makes them.
The risk is way too high.
Even just getting into the games industry. We hear this a lot of people like want to get into the games industry, and it's like, are you sure?
It's too volatile, and it's for
like
me.
All of it.
Yeah, it's way too volatile.
Every element of it.
Yeah,
making them,
even the people
covering
that have
them,
made games for lots and lots of years. They've worked at 10 different studios, and that means they've changed jobs and countries 10 different times. Like that's
no thank you.
Some people are built for that though. That's exactly what some people want.
I guess so.
I'm the opposite of that. Yeah. I'm exactly the opposite of that. So
no thank you. I don't want to, man. I wanted to ask you, and maybe we're gonna get in, maybe jumped a bit earlier about like this notion of like looking at a game and there's a take that you're supposed to have. You mentioned this maybe last week or 2 weeks ago.
This notion of like kind of funny.
I don't know. We don't even have to.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, I was kind of funny. They're the take you're supposed to have.
Yeah, like the most inoffensive, but like I kind of wanted to explore like kind of
neutral,
what that
most widely adopted. Let's not make anybody too angry approach.
Well, I mean, there's something to be said about that because like I don't know if I want to slap anybody across the wrist for not wanting to upset the internet because the internet can be just terrible sometimes.
Oh, for sure.
So avoiding that is not it's not a terrible thing to do.
Yeah, but
either.
you don't do it just to. The context was you wouldn't do something like that just to piss off the internet.
That's true.
It's not refraining from having a hot take. It's you start to question someone's, their ability to be genuine and honest with the listener or the reader. At least I do. When so many of the takes seem so down the middle.
Yeah.
Lacking any sort of, like real person like identifiability.
Yeah. That your review or your take on is going to be any different than anybody else's.
Yeah. When you're the median of everything, like when you just sit right in the middle of everything, it's like, well, how, we said this before you went on Kind of Funny, so I don't want to turn this into a Kind of Funny movie, but I've made those sentiments clear. I'm not a Kind of Funny best fan. Whatever.
Yeah, obviously.
It's nothing personal. I used to be. So I mean, like I used to be, and they're talking about an extremely influential outlet. Like I was very proud of you to go on it. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, same.
That's why I didn't say anything like bad about it when we were talking. I don't want to ruin on your big day or anything like that. But like, but you already know this about me. We've talked about this for years. Personally, like this is nothing new for anybody that's listened to me for a long time. Personally, like I kind of that's exactly what I think of Kind of Funny. Yeah, they're the take you're supposed to have. That's the best way that I could sum them up.
Well, and the way that you said it, I was like, that kind of hits. Like I feel like that I don't know if I've heard anything that's like really counter to how I would have expected. I kind of know what's going to be said maybe ahead of time.
Pretty much.
Like I guess that's kind of what you're trying to say.
I feel like I could sit down a year in advance and I could write down 10 things that I think they'll say about games that are coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I feel like I could almost guess it.
Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting thing, and like the whole, even just covering games just in general. We kind of talked about reviews last time, and I was thinking about this whole thing with Days Gone. I'm like, I don't know that I have the ability, and probably not for the next 20 years or so. Like as long as the kids are in my life, I'm not sure that I'm going to have the ability to go. I'm going to get a game, I'm going to play it, and I'm going to beat it in 3 days, and I'll have a review done after that. So, how then does my coverage, quote unquote, how does my coverage of games kind of reflect that? And I think like just ongoing commentary is maybe a good way to do it, but it's also, that's not what is expected. That's not like what the rules really allow for. It's, you should complete a game and you should have like a final verdict at the end of it. And at the same time, like I look for that. If I'm actually going to read a review, I kind of personally want to see like what's the whole experience like. But at the same time, I do feel like there's a lot of people who are like me who can't play a game in a weekend and might want to hear some coverage of like my experiences and my takes on it as I'm going through it, rather than wrapping it all up and then kind of doing it at the end. Maybe just a bit of a different take on the coverage.
Sure.
I don't know. I don't know if that's what I want to do or not, or if that's even like, yeah.
But I don't review stuff, so like I don't know really where to go from here. Like I'm glad I don't do that. I just put it that way. I mean, that's the best thing I can say to you, Sean, is I'm glad I play whatever I want to play. I don't always necessarily play whatever's coming out. I replay lots of old stuff all the time, and I literally just talk about whatever it is I'm playing and my thoughts on that, whatever that is at the moment. That's all I can really do. So I do feel for those folks, but I feel like I have a better respect for people that that take a clearer understanding, like with their review or preview coverage.
Right.
I really enjoy that. There's been lots and lots of, and I'm not trying to turn this into a kind of funny thing, but there's been, I'm just using them to make my point. The amount of times that I've heard them say, like they didn't like a game, but at the same time they kind of like the game, or they like the game, but it's not for me. Like there's a lot of like that wishy-washy, like, we don't like your game, but we don't want to be mean about it. That kind of stuff. It's like, no, I'm not here for that. I don't want to hear that.
That's
you don't
the
like
heart
the game,
of the issue.
I want to know exactly. And I think that's your strive. Like this whole thing about reviews and your psychology and your covering is you just want to be very genuine and honest with your coverage and your reviews, and and to the listener, to the reader. And that's why I like your content. That's why I want to know what you have to think about it.
When I just think like the biggest thing, and I don't know that I can really draw a line in the sand of like what is right or wrong. I just think that like being, maybe to your point, like being honest about like where are you at with the game. Like it would almost just be like the first, like, it's not even a sentence in if a review, or like somewhere in it's got to say like, I didn't finish it. Like just be totally upfront with it. Like what did you play?
I really
what did you play?
Oftentimes though, when people do that, they get hit over the head.
Just setting them up. Yeah.
Speaking of, like, you become an easy target, because then everybody yells at you about not completing the game.
Yeah.
And as Macro points out, like something like 70% of games don't finish games.
Yeah.
That's real. Like anytime anybody's ever beaten a game, you get an achievement for finishing it. The achievement's usually like 10%.
It's always rare. Like
most people
on
never
Xbox.
reach the end, and that's okay.
Yeah.
That's something that we've got to let go of. Like it's okay. Like you can totally give your opinion on a game without beating. You don't have to finish the game to be to have to be validated.
So that's sort of like an area that is tangential to this. It's not necessarily like the heart of what I'm really trying to get at, but I think you kind of landed on it, which is how do we separate, like when we talk about a game, or maybe you just don't even think about this, where you don't want to be mean to the people who made it, because I think that is something that it's noble, that it's sort of like come to realization across the collective internet. It's like, oh shit, like real people make these things. Yeah. So when I say hurtful things about the game, it might hurt somebody's feelings. Like that's a good thing to keep in mind, but it does kind of mess with the message if you are critiquing something.
Valid criticism of the product that they made shouldn't hurt their feelings if it's not. If it's valid, like if it's personal, like if it's not personal, like if you're not taking shots at the developer, there's a difference between taking the shot at the developer and then taking a shot at the game.
Right.
Like if there's something that the game isn't doing that you would prefer it do, then that developer has no, like if they're upset about that, like that's a personal thing for them. Like that shouldn't impact them at all. Like that's just, they made something that didn't hit for this person.
Right.
In my experience, having done this a little bit, some of the times when we've given like our hard feelings, our hard honest truth, I think more devs have told me they've liked that about me than anything else. It's actually some of the feedback, that's almost 100% of the feedback that I've gotten as a reviewer was pointing out something I didn't like it and why. But the person whoever gave me the code or whoever, they appreciated that. They actually told me that. The PGA 2K people, I was really, really hard on the Switch port.
Yeah.
And I gave them a lot of reasons, and they actually took that and they worked and they followed up with me like 6 months later. They're like, we just implemented this. Go try it again. That was a part of it. Victoria tore a game apart back when we first started PSVG. She was like 7 and the developer loved it. He thought it was the best.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, I mean, I think that happens. It's interesting, though, that anybody might feel that kind of guilt. And I wonder how much of this matters when you know the developer or they give you something for free versus like when you buying the game outright. Because I don't think anybody feels that when they've purchased something. Like when they've bought it themselves, you're almost validated. You're like, I can feel however I want. Like I've supported the game, I've supported the developer. And at that point, if you've made a purchase, really doesn't matter. Like if you don't like it, like the developer got their support. So I wonder how much of that
the opinion kind of swings, the bias actually swings the other way. Like where you'll actually kind of maybe change or color your own, cloud your own judgment on it because you put money into it. So you're like, you don't want to say this sucks or there's anything bad about it.
Well, I think you might be more invested because you'll feel more let down. I think that goes both ways. Like if a game is
you're
bad,
a special mind. And I keep saying this, like I think that I like the way that you look at things, but I think like in general, that's not always the case. Like the way that you kind of like split that out into like two sides, you can be mean about something or you can be critical, I think is like super, super important. That's got to be like, put that up in bold letters, underline it like capital letters. That's different. But we just kind of mince these terms in together. And then there's the bias that can come into play, whether you're given a game for free, somebody, or you actually bought the game.
Whether you own up to that. That's another thing. Whether you not just disclose it, but even like count it, can you get all philosophical. I've thought about this for a long time. Can you truly be an objective critic of a video game if you get them all for free? Like, are you getting a genuine impression, or does it? I got an argument with. It was actually with Jules, and I don't remember who's the reviewer. Was it Justin Davis at IGN?
Yeah, IGN. Yeah.
I got in a review with Justin Davis at IGN. I got in like this heated Twitter debate like years ago with Jules because Jules was sending out codes for something, and he sent IGN a bunch of codes, and they didn't review it.
Yeah,
and his stance was just because you sent us the code doesn't mean we have to review it. And I thought that was kind of crappy because I was like, I kind of think it does though. Like I'm giving you access to the product with the specific intention of you giving a review.
Especially if it was accepted. If it was like, yep, got it, installed it, done. Like,
well, and like, it's not like Jules, they didn't get the keys like through like some mass email system, right?
Right.
Jules gave them the keys. That's why he was asking about it. And it wasn't even IGN that he was mad at. It all started from Jules tweeted that he sent out, and I'm paraphrasing for Jules. And Jules, if you ever listen to this, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. I'm just trying to get the conversation going. He sent out hundreds of keys. And he was only seeing like 20% of those people do reviews. Yeah. And he was a little upset about it. And I sympathize with him because that's his bread. That's how he makes money. That's how he feeds his family. I was like, that is some shit. They do owe you reviews. Like I would be looking for receipts.
Even the notion that, I mean, there's the thing about it that's interesting for him is that he's everything. It's him and this other guy who are making the game, right? So it's him like, really trying to market it as well, who is so closely tied to the success of it. Like you don't often get that. You often have layers of people between like the creative and then like there's a marketer and then there's a PR team and whoever else. But to have it coming from like the same person, where I'm going with this is people, I think, respond to that type of thing negatively, just seeing like this guy being upset about it. And it's like, he's allowed to be upset that this isn't a thing. Like that's kind of number one. Is people are allowed to feel the way they feel prompted by a situation that impacts them. Yep. Like I feel like that's number one that we've kind of gotten completely away from. Is everything anybody's experience is normal to and acceptable to them, but they will face the consequences, I guess, if they want to voice that out on the internet. And he got it from IGN, and I think he got it from a couple of other people, but he got your side as well, which is more on the side of agreement and like understanding that maybe that wasn't so cool.
I mean, I feel like an underlying thing in this whole conversation is just social media interactions in general. And we got to remember that we're still very early on this. And I don't think necessarily everybody has really kind of figured, social media hasn't quite been figured out yet. Like everything is kind of uncharted territory. every time like a new landmark moment happens from the canceling or the, like the viral marketing trends or anything, like it's all kind of setting new ground. So it takes some time for people to really start to understand maybe boundaries. And for like Twitter and Facebook and stuff to start figuring out how to police that kind of stuff in a, in a respectable way.
Yeah. I always wonder about that. The policing of that kind of stuff is trickier than you think.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, you just look at what we've done in the last year, like with the efforts to like try and at least stop or limit like misinformation campaigns and stuff like that. Yeah. Like for years you see.
Seems like that would have been pretty easy.
Well, you see just how powerful they were. Like it was really easy to dismiss until you actually start to see cause and effect. Yeah. And that's usually the issue, is that these things don't happen until cause and effect happens. And that's when you've got to react to something.
It was funny because it almost seemed like backfire for a little bit. I don't even know if they're still doing it, but there was the whole, like, this tweet is representative of, misinformation or something like that.
Yeah. We haven't been able to validate sources or anything.
Yeah. But that became a meme. Like people ruined it. Like that actually might have been a pretty good tool for us to have. And we all made a joke of it. And it's like, now I don't know what to do with it. Like that was pretty good. We're all a bunch of really the thing is, Donnie, we're all a bunch of just big children.
Trolls.
We all just got bigger.
Especially in our little video game slice
especially
of the corner.
In the
our little corner of the
There's
the
a refusal of growing up. I got countless toys behind me. And I'm like, yeah, this is me at work. What I show on the internet for video game coverage is the same thing that I do that puts food on the table, for my job. So that, I don't know. It's just interesting. I think always, no matter what slice you talk about it, whether it's reviews or like podcasts or whatever, the whole just talking about games and stuff it's not gonna be for everybody. I guess that's just how we end up like shuffling into our little communities here. We all find what we want to listen to and what we find interesting.
That you either agree with or you can accept.
I think that you can accept. I think is yeah.
Because I listen to a ton of stuff that I don't agree with.
Yes.
I almost find that more in entertaining and enlightening than listening to other things that I do agree with. But at the same time, it's that I can accept that don't that don't break any personal boundaries, and that's gonna be different for
everybody. Of course it is. Yeah, it's that's something that also doesn't really get talked about too much. Just we're all very, very different. The fact that we're even like doing this, and what is hot to me is not hot to you, Donnie. Exactly. That's kind of, it all comes full circle.
Yeah.
Like I think 90s is too much.
And that's the thing, is like you're gonna have disagreements or differing opinions that you're gonna argue over. Sometimes it might get heated and contentious, but you got to remember that.
Yeah.
Do
you want to have more argument? Should we be fighting more on the show, Donnie?
I don't think so. We've never really fought.
We had like not for a while, like one like Mario Kart thing. Maybe was it Mario Kart even? Kart? I don't even remember. Was it like what the heck were we fighting about? There was something that was
we got into an argument with Bobby. Back in the day about Patreon.
Oh, it was Patreon.
I was marketing PSVG as a
non-Patreon.
A non-Patreon thing. Because everybody was Patreon at the time. It was like the cool hip thing to have.
Yeah.
And here I am.
Kind of funny started one. So
I'm a hypocrite, 10 years later, and I've got my own. But at the time,
I don't call that hypocrite. I feel like time has got to come into play when people talk about like if you're a hypocrite or not. Right? Like it's like there was time that elapsed. Oh, you changed your mind. Is really that's what happened. Like you changed your mind.
My mind.
Well, whatever. Like
that's how this. Like us two. I mean, that's really how this all got started. But that's the only time I can ever imagine. That's the only time I can remember us actually arguing.
Yeah, and I think that was definitely there's a period of time, and maybe it's just this getting older in all ways. You just kind of stop caring. There's a point in time where you're super sensitive about stuff in all your journeys. If you're like. You're 15 years old, you're going to be sensitive about something that like 15-year-olds are sensitive to.
Yeah, that's true.
Or if you're a year and a half into podcasting, you're going to be sensitive to things that new people of podcasting are
everybody can remember something that like made them mad in 14. You look back and you're 25, you're like, that's so stupid.
Well, and I feel the same way about some of the spats in the early days of podcasting. It's like, really? Like the drama of all this? It's like,
my wife does call us a bunch of
teenage girls. Yeah.
She does. She's like, you guys have so much drama sometimes.
Yeah, just try to, and then you just kind of, years pass and things happen. You just kind of grateful that we get to do what we do, and the rest kind of doesn't matter anymore. And that's a cool space to be in. It's like you just kind of get to look back and go like, that was cute.
It's contentment. You're content with where you are and what you've done.
Yeah.
You're good with it.
Yeah, and it's also, so I'm like, we're getting to this like kumbaya moment, but also I'm like, and I'll continue to talk about this, is I want critical conversation. Yeah, right? I still want to have like two sides. I still want to
chip on your shoulder that you've carried around with you for a bit on.
Is that what that is? Is it like that pisses me off.
It's not it shouldn't. It's just an edge. You have like a, that's not as far. I wouldn't go as far as calling it like an axe to grind, but you definitely you have a belief. That you've carried, and I think Sweet Hangs. I mean, was this episode 9? Yeah, I think this is the third or fourth time we've at least brushed the edge of this conversation. So like it kind of permeates, like your discussions. Like it's just your thinking, right? Like you just have a belief, and it doesn't matter really what the topic is. At some point, like it'll kind of weave in there because it's what you believe in. It's not an edge. It's not an axe to grind. I'm not saying it's unfair.
That's the thing is, well, yeah, exactly.
You have a belief. It's just that.
But sure, it's a
like, you don't like hearing that, do you?
I don't like hearing that it's a belief. Like, what do you mean? Like the fact that there's two sides to every.
No, you believe two sides of every. You want to have more critical opinion. You want to make the ground. You want to make the environment sustainable with having that type of thing, right?
I think that's I mean, maybe we might be into semantics here. It's a byproduct of the fact that I think what is true is that there is always two sides of every fact and story. Absolutely. So I guess that leads into my belief that like, why wouldn't you explore both sides of the story rather than, I guess so. Yeah. I don't know. It's just like, that's just the world. Like the world is round. We should explore two sides of the story.
I think when you do it in this specific situation with the games and the combustibility and argumentative nature that games can kind of create, I think you carry a little edge with you on this regard. Like your whole two sides of every story is like you want to have that debate, but you want it to be friendly, and you're always basically like kind of reminding the internet and your listenership like, hey, we can do this. Like it's just kind of like to me, it's almost like a motivation for you.
Interesting. I mean, I guess that's definitely not the way that I'm like thinking about it. But if that's the way people kind of interpret it, then that's something that I want to.
I'm gonna say people. It's just me.
I think you're probably right though, because like not a lot of people say what I say about this.
Yeah, it comes up often. That's all. Yeah, it comes up often. Especially when things are getting when things get polarizing, it comes up.
Yeah, because I guess what I'm trying to. Maybe this is the whole, like, I'm trying to do something, which is it doesn't have to explode. It doesn't have to like end friendships or have people block each other.
It doesn't have to. But if it more often does, then I mean, that's like,
well, and that's so what I was trying to do earlier is like kind of call you out in a positive way of like you did a good thing of like just differentiating like critical thought and like bitching and complaining about something.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the thing that's important.
That's
like
the line.
We lose the gradient. We blur the differentiating, like kind of important pieces. And we just end up going like, it's either one or the other. The thing is either terrible or bad. Somebody's a horrible person or they're a saint. Like there's a lot of,
I've talked about that in between in the gray space. And the reason that I think what ultimately comes down to is the reason that you have that is the gray space, the in between, the details doesn't get you seen or viewed or clicked. Like that's
how do you write a headline about?
That's not it. You fall into the noise.
I still build my
in that space. It's the people that on the edges that get the attention.
Why don't you just click on the link in the chat? It says want to become famous, buy followers and viewers. There's the secret right there. Just like, perfect timing.
So like Skyward Sword is doing this amiibo that locks his functionality.
Oh, yes. Let's talk about this. Mm-hmm.
So this happened live on air in Nintendo Shack this week.
I love that, by the way.
And we took it, and I said it. I was like, well, that's kind of dumb, but I'm going to buy it anyway.
Sure.
And Rebecca liked it, and we said it.
Yeah.
We get off the air, and 3 days pass, and like the world has gone to war over this. And Rebecca, being the instant celebrity Zelda fan that she is, she's on the front lines of this. She's getting this, like, she comes in her chat or her DMs or stuff, and she's like, I'm getting all these people that are mad at me, and I'm a shill, and I'm saying this, and I'm saying that, and it's like, that's what happens. Like when you've got that much, accessibility, and like, guess what though? Who are getting either reacted to or reactions from? It's the people that are polarizing their opinions it's on the fringe, because that's the interesting part. They're on the edge. Yeah. Right. So the people that are like, if your opinion is, well, if you don't like it, don't buy it. that opinion is invalid. It's just not. It's unimportant. It's unnecessary. Because it's just like, yeah, of course. That opinion is not getting you a retweet or a like or a look or a listen or like that opinion is not going anywhere.
Yeah,
there's no legs on that opinion.
Sure, I guess part of that then is of the people who are shouting about it. I want to know like, are you really offended? Like, are you? So I think there's maybe a subset of people who then I would actually want to talk to. There's a group of people who are all yelling about it. There's a percentage of those people who are genuinely mad about it. Yeah. Like this really hurts their feelings. Yeah. I want to talk to those people because I think there's a lot of like, this should hurt my feelings. Therefore, I'm going to yell about it because I've set up a set of rules that I abide by on the internet. And like this one triggers that rule or that reaction. It's like that kind of confuses things a little bit. This. Yeah. But do you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I think maybe you and I land in the space of like, yeah, it's kind of shitty, but I'll be buying it.
Oh, I'll still buy it. When it happened, I was like, well, that's really dumb. Yeah. Because it is really dumb.
It is dumb.
It's dumb. It's so dumb. I think there's a lot of different ways you could do it. You can make it any amiibo, any Zelda amiibo. Like could Nintendo have done this better? Absolutely they could have. Is any of those ways going to make them more money than doing it this way? No.
Yeah.
This is why this is going to happen. You know why? Because that stupid amiibo is like #1 on Amazon since it was announced. And that's why it happened.
To recap, it just like unlocks like a fast travel, which is one thing, but it's a quality of life kind of addition to the game.
It's an improvement.
It has been included in other
experience.
But they basically did something like that with Wind Waker remake, which did not require an
Swift sale.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in Breath of the Wild, if you bought the DLC, you could get the travel
tracker.
Medallion. No, the travel medallion, where you could create an instant teleport spot anywhere on the map. You could say, I always want to zoom right back here.
So Captain Blee's in the chat. I don't know if this is how you say it, but Captain Blee, something like that, says, so pay to play. And I feel like that's exactly what I'm talking about when we conflate shit. No, it's not pay to play. It's different.
Hang on, I got to highlight this because I love that you just so pointedly called him out.
It's not.
It's
not
exactly
pay to play.
What I'm talking about.
It is.
Yeah, but you're right. You're right, Sean. You are right. That is exactly what happens.
Patronize on this episode.
Somebody
Donnie.
says something, and then somebody takes it a step further, and and you get the ball rolling until you go out on this crazy edge that's not really all that realistic, just to make a point.
Yes.
So in that regard, in your point in this whole conversation, that's spot on there. You got some evidence right there, right? But yeah, it's not pay to win. It's
not even pay to win because it's not a competition. There's other things that are like that.
I did see somebody bring up a point that I hadn't thought about. I was saving it for Shaq, but somebody was like, so eventually if I want to speed run the game and have competitive speed runs, like this amiibo will be necessary.
Sure.
Yeah, maybe. Probably. It probably will be.
Yeah.
And in that regard, I kind of like it.
It becomes a different slice of the speed runs. There's always like 100% or any
no
percent,
amiibo,
like no amiibo,
speed run, no amiibo, and speed run amiibo enabled. Like, and for that reason, I actually kind of love it.
Yeah.
But the point that I was trying to make, the point that I was making to Rebecca in our Discord is, she was like, "Why are all these people?" And I was like, "You got to remember that's not all people."
Yeah.
Like you're not getting all people. This is not all people. This is just this upset group of people.
Yeah.
They don't represent everybody.
Yeah.
In most cases, they represent very few people. And the thing is that the thing that when you get angry, the thing that nobody wants to hear or nobody wants to own up to is Nintendo is doing what's in Nintendo's best interest.
Which is dollars.
That's it. That's really what it comes
Well, and the other thing, how many years did we say these amiibo don't do anything? I want this like piece of plastic to actually do something in the game.
Matter.
So that's a narrow line that we're kind of defining with all of that stuff.
I'm buying it because I have all the Zelda amiibo.
Yeah.
So I would have definitely bought it.
Oh, definitely. Didn't even care. I don't even care what it does.
I will tell you this, and I'm trying to be as honest as I can. Had I not had all the amiibo, I still would have bought this for the fast travel alone. I would have.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's a scary slope because then you go like, well, what about next time? Do they just make it DLC? So I think Nintendo gets the pass because it's a physical good. It's still a toy. It still has value. But if they just tried to pull this off as like a DLC bonus,
can you imagine?
People would be furious. They'd be so damn mad, but they get away with it because it is an amiibo.
It's kind of, if there is and it's going to be different for everybody. It's the whole concept, the theme of this show or conversation. Like Assassin's Creed has, I don't know if it's DLC or something, that you can boost your XP. Like you can work through the game. You can work through the game faster, and there's no physical thing to that at all.
Yeah. Yep.
It's just dollars for XP.
Like boosters. You can buy legendary armor sets and better weapons. There's lots of games that pull this. That is all pay to play by that definition that's in our chat. And, you know, like another thing is like pay to play. That's not even that necessarily like a bad thing either.
Yeah.
You know, like some people can help fund a game and keep it going because they can pay more money in while you're still playing. Even if they get some sort of an edge, like who cares?
Pay to play to me is it's in direct connection to when you're talking about a free to play game that actually isn't free to play, where you actually have to pay to play.
You get gated off.
Yes, you actually like so that's what that is.
Back.
Yeah. So I think like that's kind of important. So, and also this is all to say, I think this is a bad move by Nintendo. I think it's like people should be. Well, I'll say that I should clarify.
They're making so much money. This is a perfect move.
I think it's a great move for Nintendo. Yeah. I think people have the right. They have the right to say that this sucks.
If they don't like it, absolutely.
They absolutely have the right to say that this is not awesome.
But the way to change it would be to not buy it.
Right. And there's no way I'm doing that. It's a gorgeous amiibo.
It goes back to the same thing. Remember how many, and I'm putting it in air quotes, do you remember how many people are upset about Pokemon? And then it became the highest selling Pokemon game ever. Like, it doesn't matter if everybody's just going to go run out and buy it. So when that damn amiibo shoots to the top of Amazon's wish list, you know what that does? Reinforces that what Nintendo did was correct. They're like, you know what they're thinking? We should do this more often.
Yeah.
That's what they're thinking.
Well, Rebecca, you mentioned Rebecca before. She's experiencing this. Anybody who's becoming popular, they get both sides of the coin. They get people who celebrate, and that's what makes them popular. But they get the other side, which is the people who scream about stuff. It's the Nickelback effect, if that can be a thing. Like they're the most popular band in the world, and how many people hate them. Yeah. It kind of doesn't really matter.
It does. Like when you get known for something, then you also become the whipping post when that something is going through it too. That's
and I think it takes less and less to tip people off. Like if you're the most popular thing, it'll take just a little nothing to set like an entire mob off. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing is I think most people are going to give the attention to those people that are detractors.
Yeah.
So much more attention than you are the people that actually enjoy,
right?
Are there for the right reasons, if you call it that or whatever. They actually just enjoy it for being it. Yeah. And that just goes back to that original point I was trying to make the first time, Sean, is that when you have these polarizing whatever opinions, like typically they get more run. Yeah. And I think that's why you see people go so far to the sides as opposed to sit nicely in this middle and have a cup of tea and talk about it.
I think maybe one thing I'm kind of discovering here is, and maybe it's to your point, is that sometimes people know better. Sometimes people are genuinely confused that like maybe pay to play means something else. Maybe that's a genuine, like, I don't know what that means. But kind of when the Wii U was released and there's like journals everywhere, like I'm confused by this thing. Like you should know better. There's certain people and who have certain voices who should just know better. And they kind of simplify it to the point where it colors the narrative and it changes people's perception of a thing and creates attitudes and perceptions that could otherwise have been avoided if you were just more clear and communicated properly in the start. Because I think there's an important thing about breaking news or talking about something first and delivering, what's happening to thousands of people. I think it's important.
So you're now like venturing into like some sort of ethics or responsibility of somebody with influence.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's kind of where it starts, because
journalism's supposed to have those. I mean, there's supposed to be like an ethical code about journalism and all that, but
that's what I always thought.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe that's the heart of it.
And is video game journalism like real journalism? Like, are the people that are going into it actually real journalists, or are they just video game fans?
It's funny because I think to bring back to the kind of funny thing, like Greg Miller is a journalist. Like he went to one of like the greatest journalism schools in the U.S. apparently. But then he would also kind of tell people like, you don't need to do that anymore. Like it's not really where the industry is going.
And he's right. You don't.
He was right. Like he absolutely.
And if you find like your news or critical opinion in the industry is lacking, that ethical responsibility, then you may have to look at that. And as you see more and more of these things, I mean, how many paid journalism sites are even covering it anymore? It's all entertainment biz. All the sites have been closed down.
Yeah, we're
how
part
many
of the
people
problem.
just have their own YouTube channels now or their own Patreon? Like, once it's not really an industry, I guess.
Yeah.
Barring a few, there's still a few hanging around, but quite frankly, it's more like a YouTube influencer, Instagram type of industry at this point. And these things have happened to other, product reviews and things like that in other markets 10 years ago. Games are certainly like kind of just catching on.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of gives me this is a different take on it, but think about like Digital Foundry is kind of like I feel like it's one of the last remaining, kind of have to be objective about it. Like it's what they do is measurable.
That's their business. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a little different.
If they come in with any sort of, opining bias, like it's going to be seen real fast, because what they
they still get attacked for it as if they have a bias.
They do.
Which I think is amazing. How do you
evidence.
do that?
They're just like, here is the tail of the tape.
Yep. Yeah. It's like you're bought out by Microsoft or whatever. It's probably like two tweets below that.
Into the check, guys.
Exactly. They're measuring the thing. And I don't know why I thought of them when you said it happened to like other industries. I have to think about like, I don't know, maybe cars just comes to mind for me.
Like cars, anything, honestly, anything that gets like any sort of product that's made and gets reviews, and they have like, Amazon reviews and stuff like that. Like, you just think of an industry where it's very competitive, and just go type that into YouTube and find tons of channels that cover it and review it, and that's how they make their money. Chromebooks, computers, tablets, cell phones. Cell phones, Sean.
Cell phones.
There's very few like IGNs of cell phones that have like critical opinion over the industry.
Yeah.
It's all kind of relegated out now to these little channels that find communities and do their things. Now there's still like Ars Technica and there's still CNET, but what I'm saying is the trend is they're dying.
Well, and it grows
as opposed
with
to what it was
as
like
the thing becomes popular. Well, in the 90s, like
they were literally covering games like in newspapers, like with real journalists, like that was a real thing.
Yeah. It's funny because I talked to Steve Tilley about that, who is a journalist here in Canada. He's been covering games forever. And I told him that I was scared that of like where games coverage was going. He's like, why are you scared? Like, what's the difference between what you guys are doing? Like he loves tuning into stuff like what we do. And he's like, we were just like trying to figure it out back then as well. So like there's this generational thing that kind of looks that happens. Maybe we romanticize or maybe put this up into a pedestal, like the journalism that was happening before versus kind of what's happening now. Like,
well, at least I meant back then there were at least standards to getting your foot in the door.
But I share that with you. Like that was and I still wasn't completely convinced by what Steve said to me. I'm like, I don't know, man. I think you guys are still
like your foot in the door now is literally a $50 webcam.
Right.
That's your foot in the door. Like you use like Greg, if you want to use that as your example, you used to need a degree.
Yeah, $100,000 in debt, and actually probably more than that. I don't know what school is.
Rent somebody's closet in L.A. and you could.
Dude, it's 2-0 for the Oilers up on Winnipeg. 10 minutes into the first period, dude. They're fighting over here. Helmets are off.
You said some words.
It's good stuff.
Some words were said
in that sentence that I just uttered.
Yep.
Yeah. Ryan said something, I don't know if this is going back too far, but he said there's an even crazier problem with Fire Emblem Echoes having 2 full dungeons locked behind a fairly rare amiibo for that game. It's not accessible without them. That sounds like DLC. That sounds like awesome DLC to me, actually.
That
sounds
DLC,
like I'd be all right with that.
Without buying it on the store, you bought it in a little figurine. I guess
what
we're talking about is it's hard to make it. It's hard to get the rare amiibo, but
that it's a rare amiibo. Fair.
You can always get an amiibo card or an amiibo coin. There are ways.
That's
there are always
fair.
ways. The question is like, I shouldn't. There's always that. There's always that person. I shouldn't have to do X, Y, and Z. You know, like Nintendo should do it. And I mean, they could make DLC as well, but they don't want to. They want to give you the reason to go buy the amiibo.
That seems like them shooting themselves in the foot a little bit.
Probably a little.
Like if it's a rare, if they actually made software, if they made like a part of a game and you can't buy it.
I have all the amiibos, so I don't remember which one it was. But I mean, I don't think there's like outside of a couple that were like Japan only releases. Like, there's no rare amiibo that you can't get. Like, I'm pretty sure.
I haven't even.
Most of them have had reprints and stuff like that, and then there's always the aftermarket.
That's true.
There are ways of doing it.
Remember Dark Pit? Like, is there an amiibo? If I say like like a rare amiibo, Dark Pit like just jumps to mind for me.
That's a good one.
Or Palutena was like.
See, I was thinking of around to them. Quibi, the little cube, but that was like an EU.
Oh yes, right? Yeah.
But that one's really rare.
Yeah,
that one's hard to get. That one will fetch you like $150.
Gold Mega Man is one I wish I could get.
I sold that one.
Did you really?
Oh yeah, I sold that one.
Oh yeah,
for like $100.
Yeah, you're not getting any ribbons from any of us saying like, "Good job, Donnie, for having the full set." You're like, I'm getting dollars for this thing.
I sold my first female Corrin. I got it right here, dude.
Ooh.
There's not $300 on eBay. If it is, I'm selling my female Corrin right now. That is not true.
I definitely have
$300. That's insane.
Where the heck is it? I've got Chrome over there.
Chrome. Dear Lord. Chrome.
Shut up.
What the hell, Sean? Chrome?
It's been a while.
I'm looking this up right now. Female Corrin.
I could have sworn I've got a Corrin around here.
Amiibo. That's impossible. $300.
I don't see him. I got
$80. $80.
Good.
I can get an $80 female Corrin right now. Buy it now price too. Like, you can actually get it.
I must have put it somewhere else. I need to find it and take a picture and put it in the Discord.
To Ryan's credit, female Corrin is quite expensive. I might need to sell my Corrin figure.
Where the heck?
It's my
I'm like really upset by this.
There she is. She's right up here. Hang on. Let me show you.
In box or out of box?
I have the Corrin sets. You see right there.
So you're
female Corrin,
that's not worth anything.
Corrin Figma, and the Corrin little anime model.
I knew she was here.
Corrin's my favorite. That's why I've got it.
Wait a minute. Is this a dude?
Sean, you've got the worst. You've got the awful Corrin. That's the, oh God.
Yeah.
That one doesn't count.
Yeah. No,
you might as well throw that away.
Yeah, throw it away.
Let's see here, Sean. Male Corrin amiibo.
Yeah, that might be the only one.
$69.
Oh, there you go. It was pretty ambiguous though, like the hair and kind of like.
Yeah.
Ryan says that's male Corrin. Nobody likes him. But...
Nobody likes him. I always hated that they even gave that as an option. To be honest with you, I thought that was.
This is Rybo's favorite part of any podcast I do, where I just turn around, and grab shit off my shelf.
It's a great shelf. We could do an entire podcast just about your shelf.
We could do each one. It could be like, okay, tell me about this square. Okay, let me tell you about this square.
Maybe we could turn to a board game. We could actually have squares.
Ooh, that's so fun. That's really good.
Like Hollywood Squares.
And even like some of them have maybe a little bit of thought as to like why they're
who do you have in B9, like Sean? No, I'm joking.
Oh, B9, yeah. You sunk my battleship.
Dude, female Corrin. Why are these so expensive?
It's kind of sexy.
Some of these are expensive. I'm gonna sell my Corrin amiibo, Sean.
I think for $69, I'd sell male Corrin.
Oh, I can sell female Corrin. I think I can sell female Corrin fairly easily for twice that.
Really embarrassed. I say
which means it's probably gonna go. You should be.
I'm can't really embarrassed about
Chrome.
Chrome. What else? What else can I totally like mispronounce? I've got
Chrome.
I've got Ivysaur. Is that actually how you say that?
Yeah, it's
damn it, I can't
close.
even. Yeah,
Ivysaur. You put too much V into it, but it's still the same.
Some good. Yeah, I really tried.
You have a great shelf.
Thanks, man.
A lot of stuff. I've always liked your shelf. I told you that.
I like it.
A little too much Star Wars for my liking. But...
Star Wars right down here, dude. Everybody points out the Star Wars. This is the relatable square. If we're really going square by square here,
Let's get rid of it.
This is the one that people go, "Oh, Star Wars." My grandson watches Star Wars.
It's not shelf worthy.
That's what I get. Yeah, you're probably right. I probably because I keep thinking I need more space. That
Ryan,
could probably go.
I have a loose female Corrin that I will sell you so that you can play that dungeon you need.
Is that the one? Is that what he said is the rare DLC? That's the thing that look at Donnie, he's all set in golf gear and everything. He's all ready to go. Look at this.
You are looking for her.
I am sure I've got her somewhere. She is way better than male Corrin.
Of course. Not even close.
Yeah.
Rebecca, we were just talking about you.
Yeah.
But welcome to the show.
We need custom amiibo. Have we talked about this? I feel like maybe I talked about custom amiibo with you a long time ago.
I've been trying to find somebody to custom a Travis touchdown amiibo for years, actually.
Well,
I talked to all of Bobby's friends. I've talked to your folks. I talked to
Toby doesn't want to do it.
I can't find anybody to do it. I'm offering like hundreds of dollars. And I
guess we're just gonna have to learn how to do this, Donnie. We're gonna have to learn how to make our own amiibo, because what I want to do is have us all as amiibo. I want a Donnie amiibo.
To catch you up, Sean and I were going down a long conversation about video game discourse and bias and ethical journalism. We talked about people being upset about this amiibo situation with Nintendo. And I brought up how you are catching a lot of this because of your popularity, especially with Zelda fans. Speaking of Zelda fans.
And I was pissy about the notion that it comes with the territory. And I was just like, well, we could all just be better. Look at you just winning with your Switch. When are we going to get a Switch Pro, Donnie?
I hope this fall, but I think, as I said at the beginning of the year, last year, and I continue to say it, I think it comes out next March with Breath of the Wild 2.
You're probably right.
It makes all the sense in the
world. Yep, it really does. Can't argue with it. I can't argue with that.
People, I think at some point Jeff said it was out this year, and then I think he delayed it, and some of the other, I think Jason Schreier says it can come out next year too. And I had people that were like, Donnie, your guess was right. It's like, no, it wasn't. It was really just kind of like I think it's the logical conclusion.
I heard you say that. Take the credit. You're so against the whole predictions thing that you can't even just take you can't even take a win.
But it's like
that was a good call.
So so in that regards, I called Forza like 2 months before Jeff ever did. I was like, this it makes sense. It just lines up. Like, this is probably happening. And I would have told
you it makes no sense. I would have told you the opposite. So like, good call.
Thank you. But like, I think anybody could have looked at the calendar and the timeline and basically come to that conclusion. Doesn't make it right, but it's like, this makes sense. It was the same thing with Mario Golf. It just made sense. Like, now's the time.
Well,
if you look at the calendar, you look at Camelot, like, this is the time. Yeah,
in Nintendo Land, there is a little bit of math that you can do on like, it's about time for this, and then this.
But I do love that. I was so happy when we had Jeff on that show and he said it. Did you watch that show?
Oh yeah.
Because if you watch it live, he says Forza and Elaine like puts her head down and I'm like, yes.
See, it's good. It feels good to be right.
Because it was so
about that
funny because I told her like, I don't know, like 2 months ahead of that on the show. I was like, I think it's Forza. And she was like, it absolutely is not Forza.
Yeah.
And I gave her all these reasonings and it was just, just hopeful. Just hopefully optimistic is all it is.
Sure. And to the earlier point about if you were to make a game, spend $100 million, you don't know if it's actually going to do well or not. You really have zero idea what you're talking about. Just another reminder that any of us on the internet, we have no idea what we're talking about. We have no clue. We get like year by year, we learn like a little new nugget about the video game industry that makes us feel like, oh, now I get it. Now I know how things work. I know what this developer is. I know about how long.
3 months they're gonna drop a new thing, like they did last time. There was
I just mean like the collective, like all of us. We come to learn something a little bit new. Like at some point in time, we all came to realize like games take about 3 years to make. We're like, oh, okay, so I'll add that into my factoring into my predictions, or like this guy made this game, so I'll factor that kind of stuff in every once in a while. But like, so it adds to this false confidence.
These tea leaves. Well, I feel like for years, especially before the Switch, it was always like directs.
Yeah.
We were predicting directs based off last directs. We're like, look, for the last 4 years, we always get one in the second week of March, right?
Yeah.
And then we had that 1 year we didn't get one at all.
They announced it 72 hours after the third stage of the moon in the like Aquarius, whatever sign. I don't even know.
I like that about video games, especially Nintendo. Fun. It's really, really like charming and endearing. Yeah. They sleuth so hard. They try so hard.
Well, and it makes it so easy to lean into that. If you're a troll, you can lean into that big time, man, with the fake account and the tree. I'll never forget the Switch. It was supposed to be the NX, that little like glossy controller, the oval controller sitting on the desk, and there was a reflection. Yeah. Do you remember that?
That totally got me.
Did you think that was real?
Yeah, there was a
Damn
GIF.
It, Donnie.
There was a GIF that had Breath of the Wild playing on it with actual like UI that was designed for that controller.
Yeah.
And at the time I was like, nobody's going to go that far to make a troll. And they totally did. And now that's the moment I swung so hard. Now I almost don't believe anything I see.
I know.
Like, I'll see anything. I'm like, I don't know.
Like an official announcement. I'm like, I don't believe it.
Right. But that oval controller, I don't think I thought it was like true, but I think I was arguing that it could be true. I was like,
I think I was there. I think I was there. Like I wasn't right away. That's like, definitely not the thing.
This is an elaborate ruse, guys.
Things started to get a little crazy when there was like a reflection on the glass of the controller. It was like some sort of tree, and then somebody went, "This is that tree in this building, like in some developer in Scandinavia or something that is known to make games for Nintendo or something." It's like that's where this is, and like there's a circle drawn to the tree.
That's like the sports fans are that way.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It is interesting that we talk about like tribalism and stuff, and I feel like in this space it's always looked at so negatively.
Yeah.
Sports are the exact same way, and it's never really thought of like so negatively. It's almost like propped up and like cheered upon.
It's just part of the deal. Yeah.
Yeah. But like back when LeBron James left the Miami Heat, there were Cleveland Cavaliers fans that were tracking the owner's airplane to like Miami and stuff. They knew when his private plane landed. They were like, "It's happening, guys! It's happening," and it did. Like they were right.
Wow.
You know, so like that is one of the positive effects that like you can have with social media and this kind of stuff. They can go both ways.
It's crazy, man. This podcast, we could probably do this podcast for like 6 hours.
Of course.
I feel like every once in a while we're like, we should probably like pause and save some for the next week.
Another show.
But you're not going to be here next week.
I'm not going to be here next week. I'm going on vacation. And unfortunately for you, this wasn't by design. I planned this vacation a year ago. But unfortunately for you, I leave on Sunday and I come back on Sunday. So I'll be out 2 shows. I won't be able to do either show.
And then you'll be back for E3. You're ready
E3.
to go.
Yeah.
I have one of those weeks taken care of. We will not be live on PSVG. I don't really have a way to do that. Maybe we'll figure something up for the week after that.
Okay.
But I don't want to jinx it just in case things happen.
I want to tell you that I can make it back, but I mean, there's no way of knowing. Like I should be back by this time that Sunday, but also I don't know if like
write a letter.
After a drive from Florida, I don't know if I like want to get home and the first thing I want to do is pop open a podcast. And
that actually sounds like it would ruin your entire like. It might. Like the last day.
Long day, and I'm not driving the Challenger. I'm even upset that we're not taking the Challenger to Florida.
What are you taking?
Our minivan, so the kids don't
get
the whole cramped. It's cramped back here.
Is it? But is it though?
It kind of is. Yeah, it kind of is. But when you're pretty just tall. So much damn fun to drive.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like you have this like long road trip right after you get the car of your dreams, and you can't even take it.
I gotta leave it behind.
Dude, you'd be stranded in the middle of nowhere without gas. You'd have to bring bags of gasoline in your trunk just to make it those big stretches, man.
You're not lying.
Please don't put gasoline in bags, by the way, people. Stop doing that. If you thought about it, just stop doing it. Just terrible. Where are we going, man? I need that.
Switch, by the way. So anytime, much better than the Skyward Sword Joy-Cons.
Donnie, what I need to say to you is, if I get a little uppity with you about like, the discourse and we need to be a little more sophisticated with shit, just remind me that people are putting bags or like they're putting gasoline in plastic bags. Just tell me that, and I'll be like, yeah, you're right. I'll just drop this out.
Well, see, the thing is, ultimately, like this is a thing that we all do. This isn't just aimed at you. We can all get too deep, and sometimes you get pulled out. And it's hard, like you can get like just way too deep into it, and then you just like you've got to pull yourself out and separate that a little. I think.
Well, I counter that to I think some people just need to go a little deeper. I think some of our listeners could want just to go a little deeper. And the best thing is that Don. Oh, I thought you were frozen there for a second, so I was going to go on and ramble. I thought you were just like, just go a little.
This is how I'm so in on this.
A little innuendo as well.
Yeah,
mostly innuendo, a little truth of what we're actually talking about here. Just a little deeper, Donnie.
I was like,
so 2 weeks no Donnie. 2 weeks with no Donnie. So we'll get but it'll still go for their patrons on PSVG's Patreon. We'll figure that out somehow.
Yeah, I'll post it. That'll be fine. Like I have my computer and everything with me. But yeah, when I go, I've got 2 more podcasts to do this week, and then I'm off, and I'm looking forward to it.
Enjoy, man.
I'm not bringing any games with me. I'm not doing any games. I won't be on Twitter much. I won't be in Discord much. I do this once or twice a year, and trust me,
no games.
Every time we do it, I feel so much better for it.
Okay, I need to like write that. Okay, well, I'm sure we'll talk about it when you come back because I want to know all about that. I wish you told me that 2 hours ago that you were taking games, like you're going on this big long vacation, taking time away, and you're like, I knew you weren't working. I know you're not podcasting and all that kind of stuff, but like, seems to me like that's kind of like, okay, then you open the gates for some gaming time.
Oh, no, awesome. No, not these type of vacations. I do those. I will take time off and just stay at home and play games, like, if, like during special, marquee moments or something. No, this is family vacation time. This is time to spend with the kids. Whether we're watching movies, we're going to go golf, we're going to go to the beach. Like, this is time that I try to, like, let's focus on us. Like, us
I like that. I like that a lot.
Like, I don't want you on your headphones and your tablet, and I'm not playing my Switch, and like, let's put the phones down and like, let's have fun with us. Let's go out to eat. Let's take a walk. Like, that's what I do. I do these. I try to.
Donnie, I love that a lot.
I try to do this twice a year. I've done it. I almost do it annually. My boss can like, he can almost like set his watch to it.
Yeah.
And I have always really enjoyed it. I always think it goes really, really well.
Yeah.
And then when I come back, I feel refreshed and a time off, and let's get back into it. Let's pick up Biomutant. Let's get the podcast going.
Biomutant. Well, the whole story will have unfolded on Biomutant by the time you get back.
By the time, and I won't even know it.
Yeah, that'll be really interesting. There's a couple people I know. There's some people who I know take like August off, like a month.
Holiday,
off of, like social media. Like they just like
they
don't know what's going. Like they go into the woods or something. Like they just like peace out. I think that's really, really interesting. The angle that I want to I high five you on is if I don't want my kids to be on like their headphones and their phones the whole time, then like
I can't sit on my Switch.
I think that is. I mean, it's such. You're like, to you, it's obvious. I don't know if it's obvious like across the board, but I think that's awesome. Man.
I mean, that's talk about being hypocritical. Hey, get off the iPad. You can't. That doesn't work. You can't do that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Well, have a good time, man.
We'll
miss you. I'll just be hanging out in the chat. Stop! Don't be like that. I don't know. I was being nice. I really will miss you, and then you come with us. Nobody's gonna have bullshit.
Well, it wasn't meant to be that way. It's just like they're gonna have Garrett and Rebecca on. We're just gonna be like, finally.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. We started with the 3. We got 2 of them gone. Like, we got 1 more. Let's get them out of here. Finally.
Oh my gosh! Can you imagine? You come back and it's like, is a different name. PSVG has been changed altogether. It's PAV, play all video games or something.
Oh man, that's so funny. That's so funny.
You come back, there's gonna be a mutiny in your absence.
I'm
going to lead it.
All the passwords have been changed.
Why is Sean on all the PSVG master heads now?
That works. That works.
I'm gonna lead a coup. You've told me everything. You're disconnecting. You're not even gonna check in. It's too easy, man.
I usually will try. Normally I'll check in like in the morning, just kind of like say hi and see what's going on. But then I, go about my day.
Make sure there's no mutiny.
Yeah. Every day or so I try. But like the hard part is, I really scheduled it this week because there was no E3. Yeah. And now that we have E3, there's going to be like news and announcements popping off. Like
there's always that week before. People always forget about that. The stuff that they want to get out, but it's not really like E3 ready.
Dying Light and stuff like.
Oh, dude. I see you're the guy after Dying Light tweets something. You're like, just tell me about it. Let me in.
Can't wait.
The GIF. I love that. What is that from? The guy like going to the gate. He's like, let me in. And it's electrocuted. I don't know what that's from.
Is that Chappelle Show?
It seems like it's from Chappelle's Show. I'm not sure what.
I don't think it was Chappelle's Show though.
I don't know.
But it was Comedy Central something, I think. I'm sure. I'm almost positive it was Comedy Central something.
Oh my God. Well, I'll miss you. 2 weeks. I don't know what I'm going to do.
I'll miss you too, Sean.
Yeah, this is cool.
Hopefully my corn amiibo sells on eBay. That's the other thing we learned on the episode tonight, Rebecca, is that this corn amiibo apparently holds some value. So
I'm tearing my house apart, man. I got to find her. I'm sure that we've got that one.
Are you going to sell it?
I don't know.
Now that you know that it's valuable, now you just want to put it on the shelf.
We should talk about that. We could do a whole episode on you and I.
PlayStation 5?
No, I don't know if I'm that desperate to like. You imagine shipping on that thing?
Oh, it's gonna be a lot.
It's gonna be like $400.
I listed it. I'm thinking about selling it. I'm not sold yet.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm liking. I mean, that's a whole other. I'm liking where I'm at with games right now. I'm not completely overwhelmed, as tempted as I
have like a whole new thing.
Yeah, Ratchet looks cool. And Returnal is kind of like that. That would be a me game, and that's another thing I'll talk to you about in the future. Is a Donnie S. Donnie game. Yeah, well, I mean, people stopped arguing about it, and then that kind of squashed the whole conversation about it.
I had fun. I had fun trolling my PlayStation friends with that like the other day. I think I sent like 4 people that comment. Remember Returnal?
That's
like
sad. I don't want to poke fun. I'm sad about that because I thought that game looked awesome.
It was super hot for like 4 days, and then Mass Effect came out.
Mass Effect was good. Mass Effect was good.
But that's like everything, right?
Yeah.
It's everything was all a thing, and then Mass Effect came out, and it seems like the only thing that matters right now in video games.
Rebecca just found out how much that amiibo goes for. My God, 200, 250. Wow.
Yeah, we got a list scoring, I think.
You and I, one of these days, it'll be what's the Donnie Yes Donnie game, or we should just bring a whole bunch of stuff off our shelves and go like, what should we sell this?
Well, I'll tell you what's the Donnie Yes Donnie game, and you should play the demo, and that's the Scarlet Nexus.
Scarlet Nexus, I saw you post stuff about that. Ryan was telling me about it too last night. I got the demo. Too many games, man. There's too many games.
That's a damn good video game, Sean. I had a lot of fun smashing buttons. I was like, oh,
see, you're gonna walk away from it all. Smashing buttons. Yeah, I kind of want that.
It's real good.
That sounds good. All right, man. I'm gonna finish this beer and get another one and go have dinner with my family. So
that makes sense.
Maybe I love this. Bobby used to do. He used to end a Cup of Joe Nintendo. He would just cut me off mid sentence.
All right, I'm gonna go.
Here. I'm gonna go.
We gotta leave now.
Sweet hangs, man. This was fun.
See you, Sean.